I spent $27,000 acquiring new customers for a blinds company on Facebook ads. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what we did, how it worked, and how you can install the same client acquisition process into your business. So the first thing I want to go over is the actual metrics from the ad campaign. So first thing we have here is we spent $27,000 on Facebook ads. We generated 459 leads. Our cost per lead was $59. We acquired 25 customers. Our customer acquisition cost was roughly about $1,080. The revenue generated was $190,000, and the return on ad spend was a 7x, or I think it was like close to 7x. Now, if you're looking at this campaign and you're wondering, what are the metrics that actually matter? The biggest one here is our customer acquisition cost. I personally do not care about any other metric at all except for customer acquisition cost, because that is what it costs for us to acquire a customer, and it's proof that we generated revenue, because all that matters at the end of the day is revenue. I'm sure you've probably heard people talk about lead generation or return on ad spend and why those numbers are so important. I disagree. Lead generation is very beginner advertising. Those are things that beginning advertisers are worried about, are interested in. Oh, we can generate leads. Let's go get a bunch of leads running Facebook ads. When in reality, leads don't necessarily matter. You can get unlimited phone numbers and emails, but if you can't close them and you aren't actually getting people to purchase your service, then you're not actually making any money. So understand that, like, no matter how many leads you generate or how many appointments that you generate, you are not actually making any money unless they are closing. To kind of give you a rundown of what actually happened in this campaign. So my customer had come to me in probably, I think it was October of last year, and they said they had been running ads on multiple different platforms, trying to find the best strategy for their business, and nothing was working for them so far. And so I took them in and we started running ads on Facebook. Our offers, we tried out a couple different offers, very, very simple, basic, generic offers, right? We're running, these are just blinds, like window blinds, right? So we started doing free estimates. We did transparent pricing. So we talked about the actual price up front to install a blind, like this is how much it costs per blind that you install. And then we even did another offer, like a percentage off of labor, right? Very, very simple offers. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think people really like overhype the offer thing and try to turn it into this magical, you have to do all this extra stuff to try and make a perfect offer. I promise you, like, the simple offers work. They work completely fine. So you should try them and you should use them. I always like to, if a company doesn't have offers that they're currently running, I like to just run 3 or 4 generic offers starting off our campaign so we can see what offer is going to generate the best results, and then we can branch off of that offer. And we find that out very, very quickly. Not in a couple months, not 2 months into the service, but within a couple weeks, you have a very, very good idea of what people are interested in buying. And I'll give you another little secret when it comes to home service ads. If you do 2 things, these 2 things are working right now very, very well. One, yap maxing. That's what the kids are calling it. I'm going to stick with it. Yap maxing is essentially where you just take your camera out and you just talk to the camera and tell the audience what you guys have going on inside your business or why they should purchase your service. It works very, very well. I'm using this same strategy for some of my clients right now. They're talking about, I got one, for example, a tree client who is telling people in the local area about how this certain mite is like killing off their trees. And there are plenty of people who are signing up just because of this problem that they're having. It's a long video. He's talking about this problem. And I'm going to be honest, at first I didn't even think it was going to work, but it did. It did a very good job. It's not very advertising. It got the results. So that's kind of the same strategy we used here. And then the other one is just showing them the actual job and the work completed. People want to see the actual job that you're doing and see that you're doing a good job. When you have your crews out there and you guys are putting on a new roof, or you guys are building a shower, and they can see that, they can see it's not just some random guy that, they're hiring a contractor who's going to come out and do this job, but actually a professional team who's going to come out and do the job, they're more likely to purchase your service. So those 2 things right there, that is what we showed in the ad creatives. Just saying, hey, this is what we do. This is how it works. And I would show you the ad creatives, but for my client privacy, I am not going to show them. However, if you'd like to see some ads that other contractors are using to close $25,000 to $50,000 jobs, there is a link in the description that you can click on to get a free swipe file with other ads that other contractors are using right now. So make sure you go check that out after this video. So once we made our ad campaign, the rest of the funnel was very, very simple to build. Once the ad was built, we built a questionnaire to have the prospects fill out their information and tell us a little bit about the service they were trying to get done. And they had to qualify themselves. So at first, actually, within the first week, we were getting a lot of leads. We were getting, I think it was like $15 cost per lead. We were spending $100 a day. And there were leads just flying in the door. And I remember my client called me and he was like, "This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. This is so awesome. I'm happy that we're doing this." And I remember I stopped him and I said, "Hey, this isn't supposed to be like this." Because we were getting leads too quickly. We had way too many leads coming in. They were too cheap. When a lead is too cheap, at the same time, they're not as qualified because everyone's filling out the form. So we knew the offer was working, but the problem was that everyone was filling out the form. The offer was also working for the people that were filling out the form, which means if everyone that was filling out the form was poor, if we change the offer, we keep the same offer, we might not have been pulling the people that actually we wanted to purchase our service. We might have still been just pulling poor people. And so this was a problem. I remember he said this. He came to me after the first week and he was like, "This is great." And I said, "No, it's not." And I remember I went in and I added the qualifying questions and I changed it up a little bit so that we could actually test it properly because we needed more qualifying questions. Depending on the circumstance, I might do less qualifying questions. I might do more. But in this situation, we said, screw it. Let's just run a couple of questions and see what happens. As soon as we were getting a bunch of leads, I said, "How are we doing on the closes?" He was booking inspections, but people were like tower kicking. So I said, "You know what? Let's go ahead and add more questions." So we started asking people questions like their address. We started asking them, how soon are they looking to get the project done? How many openings are they looking to cover? Like how many blinds are they looking to cover in their house, right? And once we did this, we started getting more qualified leads. That way, my client didn't have to run around to a bunch of different estimates and have 50 different appointments. He just got the qualified people, went to their house, had conversations, and then they closed. So once the customer filled out the form, then they got added into our CRM that automatically sent them text messages and reminders about the form they just filled out and gave them the opportunity to book a phone consultation with one of our sales team members as soon as they filled out the form. So even if my client couldn't get to them in time, they got sent a text message automatically as soon as they filled out the form saying, "Hey, John, I saw you filled out this thing. Here is a link to our calendar so you can book a call with our team," right? This works at all hours of the day. So if they fill out the form at 2 o'clock in the morning, they can still book a conversation with the sales team and the lead doesn't get lost, right? So once they would book a call with the sales team member, they would get sent reminders about their sales call that they had. And then after that, one of the team members would pick up the phone, have a conversation with them, and then they would send out someone to do the estimate. Now, if someone didn't book an appointment, I'd say about 10 to 30% of people are going to book the appointment off rip, which that happens because we give them a secondary offer on the backside. So when somebody fills out the form, right before they leave the form, we say, "Hey, by the way, there's one more step or one more thing. You can get this extra thing from us," right? You can get this extra. I don't remember exactly what it was for this campaign, but it might have been like you can get, just skip the line. We might have just said that. Skip the line, book your consultation now because we're booked out. And so people would book appointments. But if you give people incentives for everything, every single step on the way, they are more likely to purchase your service. And so that is what we did. We gave them another incentive to book a call with us. But some people didn't book a call, so they would still get sent our text messages. And then regardless of if they got sent a text, if they called, if they booked an appointment, we still had our sales team reach out to them within the first 5 minutes of them filling out the form. You always want to make sure that you're reaching out to leads as soon as they fill out the form, because the faster you reach out to them, the higher the likelihood that you will actually close the lead is. So that is what we did. We had our sales team call these leads as quickly as possible. Now, I will say I did have a little bit of an issue here for a while, and this is where I think our customer acquisition cost could have been a little bit lower and we could have generated more revenue was that we did have a sales team member who was not actually making the calls when I first started working with them. And so I had to bring this to their attention. In fact, I actually had one of my guys sit down and call a bunch of their leads. And after we had a bunch of conversations, recorded calls, and found that there were leads in there who were not getting called on, who somebody would go out and give them an inspection and then nobody would come back to actually do the job. When I found this out, I brought the attention to the owner of the company, and we were able to make changes within the company and hire someone else who was better at sales, who was more ambitious, and who was more interested in doing the job. We got them in the position, and then we started closing significantly more than we were before. All right, so this happened for probably the first 3 months. We were doing good. We had leads coming in. I think we closed 3-4 jobs, but it wasn't good, right? And so I said, well, there's something going on here because marketing's doing its job. We need to do something with sales. And so I dug into the sales for my client because I want to make sure that they're getting results. And sure enough, I found that their sales process was inherently flawed. And so what I did was I helped them realize this. And then we hired a new sales team member who then went in and helped us close more jobs. So since then, we've closed 20 new jobs. We still have all the leads that we've been contacting from before, and we have more leads coming in now, right? So the other number I want to bring your attention to is the return on ad spend. So return on ad spend, a lot of agencies will tell you, oh, return on ad spend, it's so important. Return on ad spend is such a big number. Everyone wants to have a high return on ad spend. I will tell you, return on ad spend does not matter. And when you stop focusing on return on ad spend and you start focusing on lifetime value to customer acquisition cost, then that is when your business scales. I see so many people worried about return on ad spend. Oh, we got a 7x return on ad spend. How do we make it 15x return on ad spend? It honestly doesn't matter. And I'll tell you why it doesn't matter. Because you just want to acquire customers. When you're running ads, understand that acquiring new customers for a business is the most expensive thing that a business can do. Okay, but it can also be the most profitable. If you hire the right customers, those customers can become advocates for your business and help you close more deals. For example, we hire somebody and they spend, $10,000 getting new blinds in their home. Okay, well, we also sell retractable screens. So once they spend the money on the blinds, we keep them in our system, we keep in contact with them. Now they purchase retractable screens. Guess what happens when Sandra gets retractable screens on her patio? What's the first thing you think she's going to do? She's going to have a barbecue and have all of her friends and family over just because she wants to show them the retractable screens that she got. Yeah, they're going to have the barbecue party, whatever, for their family. But let's be honest, deep down inside, psychologically, the reason why Sandra, or whatever the name was that I gave her, wants to have a party with her family is because she wants to go, hey, everybody, look, we have retractable screens on our patio. And when I click this button right here, the screens go down. Look at that. And it's temperature controlled. She was just free marketing for everybody. So yes, it did cost us $1,000 to acquire a customer. But guess what? That customer now becomes an advocate for the business. And so when she's having her barbecue party and telling everyone, look at what my retractable screens do, guess what happens? Now everybody wants to talk to you. And that's the easiest sell in the entire world, referrals. So guess what? Yeah, we acquired a customer for $1,000. And sure, we made $10,000 off of it. Profit, we might have made $3,000 in total. So we only took home $2,000 in exchange. However, Sandra's now told all of her friends and family, and then her friends and family all want to do it. Let's say 4 other households over the next year sign up because Sandra kept showing them, oh, look at what my blinds can do. Guess what happens after that? Now we've acquired $40,000. And again, this is just a number I'm spitting out there because obviously it depends on the job. But if, say, it was all like a similar job, it was $10,000 for each one of them, right? Now we've made $40,000 and in revenue, and we've taken home $8,000, but none of it goes to advertising spend. And if you're a real G, you just put the customer acquisition costs on top of your total price for your service. So we would actually charge like $11,080, right? Or $12,000. So that way we've eaten our customer acquisition costs and taken it in with the actual revenue generated. Okay, this is what big brands do to scale. Okay. Once you do this though, you're seeing way better results. Return on ad spend doesn't matter because here's the deal. Lifetime value of the customer, that customer, say she got the retractable screens and she got blinds. Let's say she spent $20,000 across the two of them, and then she got 5 other people to purchase from you over the course of the next year. So that's $70,000 that we made from $1,000 customer acquisition cost, which means we have a 70-to-1 return on our ad spend. Or it's not return on ad spend, it's a 70-to-1 lifetime value to customer acquisition cost. Now, all of a sudden, return on ad spend doesn't matter anymore. This is the real number that helps a brand scale. And if you want help with this, I have a full training on how to run Facebook ads on your own. If you click the link in the description, you can check it out now. It's a full training just for you. Now, the only thing I would say about this campaign that I think could be better is actually the speed to lead time. I do think that sales left a lot of opportunity on the table. In fact, I have gone in there and seen multiple times leads that didn't ever get contacted, and that's okay. Like, it happens, and that's just a part of running ads. You're going to come into a time where, you generate 459 leads. At some point, it's hard to reach out to some of those people, and so this is why we have started installing AI softwares to actually have conversations with leads, making it easy for them to book appointments and to actually call in and speak with a customer representative, because the faster these leads can have conversations, the higher likelihood that we can actually close the opportunities. So I do think that there were some places where we could have improved this campaign, and I can't wait to see where this campaign goes over the next 6 to 12 months. However, the biggest lesson that I did learn in this entire campaign was that you have to have people calling your leads. You can't have leads come in and expect that they're going to jump through 50 hoops to work with you. Some people are just lazy. Okay. And you're going to have to do some of the heavy lifting for them. And so this is why I went in on my own and made sure that the leads were getting contacted, and we made the appropriate changes within the business so that they could get better results. And this is exactly what I do for any of my clients. Whenever they're having a problem in their business, even outside of marketing, if it's sales, if it's fulfillment, if it's booking the actual appointments, if it's having conversations with the leads, anything on the marketing and sales side, I'm always there to try and help them find better solutions to make their results better and make their lives easier. Now, this same campaign structure applies to any lead generation business. This is the same thing that I've used in multiple different industries: fencing, roofing, remodeling. There are so many different businesses where this exact funnel works for, and it works for lead generation businesses. So if you run a lead gen business, this is the exact same funnel that we would install for you. And if you want help getting this for your business, you can click the first link in the description and book a call with me so we can have a one-on-one conversation, see where your marketing is right now, and see what you need to do to improve it. And if you're not ready to run ads and you want to figure out how you can get more leads in your business for completely free, watch this video right here.